Now that all 50 states have a lift from the coronavirus lockdown, now's the time to start re-engaging and reconnecting with your customers and your prospects. Here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to review 7 tips that you can start taking action on right now with your marketing
for free.
Hi, I'm Vicki O'Neill, your Plateau to Grow marketer, and today I'm going to review 7 tips that are going to help you reconnect, engage, and communicate with your prospects and your customers. So let's get started. Your first marketing tip is creating content. Now, throughout the coronavirus, if you were in complete lockdown and not able to do anything from home, now is the time to do that. Now's the time to look at your messaging, where your customers are, and re-engage with them. And you'll also need to look at what changes have been made in this process over the last few months. Now, your customers may have been spending time in one place or another place, which you probably already knew that. But since everybody's gone through this huge transition with their business and how they spend their time, they may be in a different place now. So you need to reevaluate and reassess your customers before you start creating content so that you can make sure that your message corresponds with where they're spending time and how they're consuming your type of content. As you're creating content, it's important not just to look at your messaging, but also the type of format that you're creating. If your target customers and your consumers or customers are now engaging and consuming content in a different way, then you need to be able to modify your approaches and how you're creating content as well. So what I mean by that is, are they consuming content through text, which would be like a blog post or social media posts? Are they consuming content now through audio? That could be in a podcast format or just audio clips that you associate with an image that you then post on social media or on your website. The third way that they could be consuming media is through video. And this is a great way to really connect with your target audience so that they can see you, they can hear you, and they can engage with you on the platform wherever you put your video. So it's important to do that so that you make sure that you're staying where they are and delivering something in a format that they're going to relate to, it's going to be relevant, and they can engage with. The second tip is podcasting. Now, this may mean either creating your own podcast or being a guest on someone else's. Now, I'm a huge proponent of evaluating what works best for you. You'll hear people say, you need to start your own podcast. You need to do this with a podcast. And really, it's just like any other platform in that you need to do what's best for your brand and how you're going to best connect with your prospects and your customers. Now, if a podcast makes sense to do so moving forward, then by all means, create a podcast. Just do your research up front, have a strategy, and know what your content plan is moving forward. I know this from my own experience. I'm now almost 75 episodes in on my podcast, Connect the Dots. So I highly recommend that not just starting a podcast, but having some type of strategy tied behind what your podcast purpose is, who you're going to serve, and what value they're going to get from that. In fact, monthly podcast listening has increased 54% over the last 3 years, which is huge. And that's according to a 2020 study by Edison Research and Triton Digital. I'll include a link to that study in the comments, so if you want to take a look at that in further detail, that'll be available for you as well. Tip number 3 is networking. Now, I know what you're saying is, hey, Vicki, do you know that we've been in a lockdown because of the coronavirus over the last few months? Yes, I'm very aware of that. I too have been in lockdown. But here's the thing, networking can happen in person and online. So if you haven't been networking, meaning expanding your audience, connecting with your target audience, talking to your customers and prospects over the last few months because of the lockdown, now is a great time to re-engage. This can happen in LinkedIn or Facebook groups or any type of webinar or live video, which I do on Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And that's a great opportunity to connect, ask questions, hear new information, and also any other people who are attending live, you can connect that way. In fact, I attend a daily live session with Flynn, which I may have mentioned on another video, but he shares so much value on so many different topics that he has a very large crowd or a large group of people attending during live that I engage with and connect with and ask questions and talk to while learning from Pat himself. So look for different events digitally, whether it's a webinar, a live show, videos that people are putting out, connect with people over Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, wherever your target audience is spending time, that's where you need to be. And you need to connect with them and comment on their posts and provide value to them so they can start to see you as someone that they want to connect with as well. Tip number 4 is all about reevaluating and reassessing your target audience. I did mention this in a previous video that I will link here for you to access as well. And the reason why I mention it is because it's so important to understand the changes that have been made with your target audience and where they're spending time. They're going to look different. And by look different, I don't mean their appearance. I mean, they're going to be spending time in different places, engaging with people differently. They might even be sharing more content because they've been having more time, just like most of us have been. So look at how things were before COVID-19. Look at what changes have happened during COVID-19, and then evaluate how you anticipate things being in your industry or for your business or for your target audience post COVID-19 so that you can adjust and make the necessary changes within your business and with those that you're connecting. Most importantly, with your marketing and the messaging that you're tying to those marketing messages or marketing content and how you're getting that information out to them. You want to make sure that that time, the resources, the effort, the call to actions, everything that you're including in your messaging is worth the time and it's getting to the appropriate people on the right platforms. The only way to do that is to do an assessment. Tip number 5 is adjust your offers. This isn't just looking at the pricing aspect of your offers. This is also looking at the actual products or services or solutions that you have in place and looking to see if they're all still appropriate given our new normal. There may be some products that are no longer relevant at all. There's some that you might have to pull for now and maybe introduce in a week from now or a month from now or a year from now. Also look at how you're bundling your products to see if it still makes sense to have those grouped together in the way that you have them grouped together. You might need to make some changes to those, so make sure that you are doing a full evaluation of your products, the bundles, and then also the pricing. You may find that there are some products or services that are more necessary right now, and if that's the case, those are the ones that you're going to want to make sure that you're putting forth and at the front of your website and at the front of your product and services listings so that those are the ones that your target audience sees the most. So make sure that you do that. And again, another way to do that is to look at the data. Look at your customers and see where there might be some pivots that you need to make. Which ones were they purchasing before? If they were still purchasing during, take a look at those. And then based on how they're spending their time and how their needs have changed, then make your changes to your products and services accordingly. A great way to communicate those changes in your product offerings is through email. And that's tip number 6. Email and building an email list is going to be your biggest asset outside of your company, your employees, and your customers. The reason why I say that is because an email list is something that you have full control over. in regards to how you communicate, when you communicate, and what you communicate. The reason that your email should have a higher priority than your social media postings or your social media presence is because those algorithms on the different social media platforms change all the time. And when that happens, there's no way for you to control how and when your messages, your posts, your videos, your images are going to be seen by your target audience. So focus on different ways that you can build your email list. If you don't have one, now is a great time to start focusing on how to do that. And I'll include a link in the comments of a podcast episode that I did on how to generate opt-ins or lead magnets, how to use them to increase your email list. Now, some people don't believe in those, but it can't hurt to give it a shot, see if it works for you. And that's just like with anything else. You just have to try something, see if it works. If not, try something else. But I actually give some examples of different types of lead, easy for me to say. I also give examples of different lead magnets and opt-ins that you can use as a great starting point. So I'll make that available to you as well. The added value of having an email list is that you can create segments in your email list so that you can target your messaging according to your different segments or your different personas. Okay, the last and final tip, which is tip number 7, is all about analyzing and evaluating your content. This is going to come from your Google Analytics. And one of the ways that you can use this information to help you in your marketing efforts is to go into the actual platform and look at the dashboard, look at the data. Now, I know it's overwhelming because there's a ton of data available there, but there are some key pieces that you can look at that are going to give you such insight as to what activity has been happening on your website. Two of the things that you'll want to look at is the sessions, number of sessions. Did those go up? And that's under your dashboard, just when you log in and you have the different segments on that page. The number of sessions is listed there. And you want to look at for the different time frames, and you can break that down by month. Look at how it was before the COVID-19 started, before the lockdown started. Look at what happened through those months where we were in lockdown, and then look at what changes you might need to make based on how you anticipate moving forward with your marketing efforts. Again, going back and looking to see where your target audience is, where they're spending time, and how they're engaging with content. This Google Analytics data is going to help you provide some insight into how they're interacting with your brand and where they're spending time on your website. So you'll want to look at the pages that they've been spending the most time on. What content is there? What needs to be replicated? What needs to be removed or updated? That's information that you can glean from your Google Analytics report. A couple other things that you want to take a look at are your bounce rate, which is a page that they come in and exit immediately. Not immediately, but they don't visit any other pages on your website. So they bounce in, bounce out one page. And you'll also want to look at your exit rate, which is looking at the page that they came in. They're going to visit a couple other pages, or at least more than one page, and then the page that they exited. That information is going to be insightful to you and extremely valuable to help you understand what they're experiencing on your website. That will help you understand what needs to be updated, what needs to be removed, and help you understand where you can add additional value and possibly where you might need to make some changes along their customer journey with you and your brand. From a social media perspective, you'll want to look at which profiles you have on the different platforms. Look at, have your profile views increased, like on LinkedIn and Instagram, for example. Have your followers or page likes increased? Most importantly, you're going to want to look at, has the engagement increased? Has the click through to whatever action that you provided in those posts increased to your website, increasing your email list, increasing your sales, increasing your downloads, whatever that call to action was? You can look at that information on your social media posts as well and get an understanding from that as to what activity was happening. Did different activities increase in the lockdown? Did others decrease? Were you active on those platforms? Were you providing value and people just weren't giving you any type of feedback or engaging with you? What's important to understand here is to look at the engagement and how it's changed over the last 6 months. Prior to COVID-19, during COVID-19, and now that we're starting to get that lift out of our lockdown, what's going to happen with that as well, and try and anticipate how you can leverage the information that you have available to you through your analytics and your data and the information that you have through any activity you were actively engaging in during the lockdown and what you can anticipate moving forward. Okay, so out of the 7 tips, which one did you find the most valuable? Let me know in the comments below. And also, if you liked this video, hit like and then go ahead and share it out on one of your social media platforms so that your target audience can also leverage this marketing information to help their business. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please do so now. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you know when new videos are uploaded and also when I go live, which is every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time. And as always, make today great. That you can start taking action on right now.